Is that real fire? Yes. She cautiously stared at the flames while Wing stared at her. Want to put some wood on it? I didn't come to play with fire. Maybe it'd be less scary out here with it higher. Wouldn't that be dangerous? How do you know how close you can get to it? How do you keep it in its place? Wing held up his arm and rolled the sleeve past the elbow. Pushing the fabric back revealed a vicious burn he had gotten years ago. Sheila gasped and swooned a little. She had never seen an injury. She was drawn to it. It had a macabre beauty for her. Here was a man who had survived such a thing. She found herself beside it, examining it. Then she put a finger on it. Wing jumped back like it hurt, and Sheila squealed and remembered the owner. His smile made her realize the joke. "Oh, you bastard," she laughed. She quickly covered her mouth. Did anyone hear? The lady couldn't even remember where she had ever encountered the word. But in that fearful, defenseless moment, she looked up directly into Wing's eyes. They had been waiting for her. He was intrigued. Her smell made him feel like his concoction had made his customers feel. "I've heard about you traveling salesman," she hopefully cooed. Wing smiled like a boy without moving his eyes or letting them say anything. Nervousness prompted. "Are you going inside when the walls are ready?" He took her hand and slipped her into a more comfortable position to sit closely with. It took no strength at all to do it, and she noticed that. "There are some talks better whispered near, breath in the ear." "Well," wriggling herself as comfortable as she could, "we're all getting pretty acclimated pretty well for our future. We're all proud," she announced, trying to relax. Wing built a close little nest around them. She didn't know how to deal with his attention or hers. The night was getting black. "That's nice. I've read about it on the bulletin." "You read the bulletin?" Sheila couldn't imagine this man doing something so ordinary. "Got to keep up." "Well, are you going inside? Are you going to go inside? The outside will be outside forever. I mean, are you going to go inside when all the walls are built?" No. The paint and training that had been slobbered on Sheila's instinct wanted her to ask why. But her real instinct, her deep self, knew the question was just silly, and it kept her quiet till she slipped, asked, "Who am I?" The generations that had lived, tended like sheep off the inventions of their ancestors, had this question bred out of them. But now here, out of nowhere, was someone older than the oldest of their kind, with someone who was the last hope of curiosity for a melting people. Sheila trembled like she was cold. Wing drew her close. "Don't you know you're beautiful?" The slight movement of her head might have been, "No." "You're beautiful. That's who you are. You're alive. You're warm. We're alike. People who live in more than one of the billions of worlds around us. We were reborn this morning again with every possibility for the thrill of the day to be the thrill of a lifetime. We both knew it and will know it tomorrow. It's bound to confuse. Who you are is a little like a breath of air. You only get to know enough about it for the moment you're in. Quickly, everything changes into the next new breath. Every next moment just keeps happening the same way, on and on. Who you are is how you live. Does this moment, or do you really need to know more? No. They talked and laughed carelessly about their lives. Friends do that. As they talked, the fire faded, and they wanted to be closer. Only what they were wearing filled the last space between them. Passion and curiosity mixed as they carefully, deliberately, button by button, removed and treasured each item the other had hidden themselves with, watching each other emerge. This was not a new love that needed a dance of courting and teasing. Time was not going to be wasted getting to anywhere. The night coming would change them both in history. How could they know? Why should they care? Wing was newly reborn, and Sheila was now being made new. Each was pausing with the other, each on their way to unavoidable worlds, each looking at all their closest possessions plainly placed out, wondering about them, calmed by their resolve. "Oh, your leg," Sheila moaned as she slid down his chest, her legs wrapped around his whole body felt up all at once. "Must be a little like being a shark with all that super sensitive skin and all that stuff to feel around you," passed through Wing's mind. But Wag stuck. Years ago, he had started the term going round to judge when to make a debut. No one else was using it, and he figured if he started using it, when it came back to him in conversations, that would be a good time to make a move on the market. He'd know he had a buying base out there in the great public. Now Sheila said, "Wag," without knowing its owner. She had slid further down his body than he thought she needed in order to be comfortable, but Sheila wasn't looking to be comfortable. She had built up a considerable number of frustrations, and right now she was free, wild. She was out in the wild with a real wag, a word she panted with every gulp of this man she drank. Something she had once tried to do to her daughter's father. He didn't understand and insisted on wearing protection. Rubber tastes like shit, smells. It took 2 years to get over it and have another erotic thought. But this man had a cock the size of that other man's leg. Juices leaked out of him. She gulped and swallowed. The knot of anxiety that she had been carrying in her stomach for years melted away. It melted away easy and Pied Pipered every other problem she felt with it. She had been totally right all these years, totally right about the juices of a real wag. They cure. Yeah, yeah. While a feeling around her longest finger caused a glance up the length of her arm, it was the feeling of having your finger in someone's mouth. The up and down movement of Wing's head had matched hers. Wing opened his eyes and looked straight down Sheila's arm into hers. Both breathed out a laugh and they rolled into each other. What each of them would carry into the new day, Wing with his world to wander and Sheila with her cocoon to care for, neither knew. There are obvious reasons why the earth doesn't shake for all the participants involved in great moments in history, as great moments in history. People are too consumed by their own involvement to see it. Humankind was going left and right here. Lester and Earl knew, still leaning against each other and watching. Somehow Sheila knew it too. But Wing just kept slobbering over Sheila's tits like it was a feeling you could store up for long dry spells, or maybe as if flesh absent from you could be made up for. Each watched the stars clock the night through the hair of their companion as it fell on their face.